Czech.
Right.
And so when did you come to the U.S.?
Actually, we were trying to escape twice, but also my sister, and we got caught on the border. Mom got thrown in jail. We got distributed among the family. When my mom returned back, my father sent another fellow to see whether he can get us over. And unfortunately, there were some maneuvers on the border, and we got caught the second time. And the poor guys that were trying to take us over, they got 15 years of hard labor digging uranium for the Russians.
Wow.
So one of them didn't make it. He was not as strong as the other one, and the other one spent 13 and a half years in Yakimov. Yeah. What a tragic story. So at the end, though, Mom said that we will not try anymore to escape. We will try for the paperwork to finally be able to leave. And it was 18 years later, or I should say 17 years later, when I was 18, we finally were allowed to leave and came to California.
And your dad was already deep into the Porsche culture by then.
Deep in the Porsche culture.
So what's your first memory? I know even before you came to America, what's your first love affair with the Porsche brand?
Well, I was getting photographs from races, and I just knew that he was so enamored with cars that I obviously followed it too.
Yeah, of course.
I remember you had actually asked me earlier what was my first experience in a Porsche car. Actually, my first experience following one to Prague from the little town where we used to live, I was just mesmerized to see this 356 on the front of me. And there was only one hotel in Prague, in the Czech Republic, that virtually all the foreigners would stay because it was highly regarded and had very great underground parking and so. And my mom had a friend that was a head of the garage, and I would always stop by and say, "Mr. Jakob, what do you have in the basement?" And this time he said, "I got a special surprise for you. There's a Porsche car down there." And so I remember sitting in it, dreaming that someday I would be driving one. So that was my first time I sat in a Porsche car.
Nice. And then you came to the U.S. when you were 18.
Right.
With the rest of your family.
Right.
And were able to join your dad.
Right.
So that's must have been a great feeling. And Southern California in the 50s was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it was in the 60s. I'm sorry.
Right. 1966. It came January 11, 1966.
Okay. Excellent. And so, being 18, did you have some? What was your first? You got to reunite with your dad. Did he bring you into the dealership? Did you get to drive some fun cars back then?
Oh, absolutely. We had, I, like everybody in the business, you start sweeping floors in the shop.
Sure.
So that's what I was doing, and then I was doing a little maintenance, and then he sent me to a school and learn a little bit more. I am trained auto mechanic. So it was easy for me to appreciate what he was saying, how incredibly wonderfully engineered the Porsche cars were and are to this day. And so it just further reinforced my love for the car as well.
Right. And you told me something about a Carmen Ghia. Is this the Carmen Ghia he towed? Or
no,
is it a different car?
It's a different Carmen Ghia. This was a different Carmen Ghia.
But tell us about that Carmen Ghia.
Yeah. Well, it was my very first car that I had in America after I got my driver's license was a beat-up old Volkswagen with 220,000 miles, and it needed paint, and father said, "Okay, this is your car." Oh, how wonderful. And so he said, "Yeah, Errolscheid 29.95, we'll paint it for you, but you have to tape everything on it, otherwise they paint your rubber, they paint everything."
Yeah.
So I did that, and so I drove it, and I was very happy with it, having my own car.
Yeah.
And one day I came to the Porsche store and he goes, I got a surprise for you. I want you to turn in your Volkswagen for another one. I go, oh, what is it? And he said, I got a Karmann Ghia with a Porsche engine in it. And I go, oh, you took it on trade? And he said, yes, this is your new drive. So new driver. So I would drive it, but immediately I noticed that because of the horsepower that the Porsche motor had, which was almost 3 times because it was a Super 90 motor in it, and so suddenly I realized the car had no brakes. There's absolutely no brakes. So I would drive and I would used to make fun. I said, I used to have binoculars next to my seats, and when I got on a straight highway, I would look for the stop sign. And as soon as I would see the stop sign, I would start to brake, and I start to brake until I would get there.
Yeah.
And so I kept pleading with my dad. I go, is there any? We have so many parts everywhere. Is there any chance that I can get a set of Porsche brakes for it? Because they bolted right out. And so he said, just wait. So one day I come to the Porsche store and there's this rolled up 356 and being brought in, and I said, and he goes, yeah, your Porsche brakes, So I put it up on the hoist and took the brakes off and cleaned everything and took the brakes from the Karmann Ghia, and boy, was it
probably
fantastic.
a nice car.
With a short gearbox from the Volkswagen, and now it could stop, and I could just drive it like that.
That's great.
Good fun.
Yeah, good fun.